Lieutenant Colonel Brad Taylor, author of the Pike Logan series, and Bruce Klingner, Senior Research Fellow of Northeast Asia at the Heritage Foundation. He also previously served as the CIA's Deputy Division Chief for Korea. So all very well qualified with a lot of deep history in this area. And General, let me start with you because I'd like to get your reaction to what General Mattis said there. What did you think?
Hey, Martha, General Mattis, Secretary Mattis is saying in a very direct way, if you shoot at us, expect consequences to come back at you in a nanosecond, and we are prepared to do that. And what you're seeing the Trump administration do is leverage all the elements of national power. So Secretary Mattis, in charge of the Department of Defense, is talking about the types of things that we can do. We've flown flexible deterrent options such as B-1 bombers and all of that. You've got today, all the talk is about the trade deal and the economic back and forth between us and China. That's leveraging our economic power. Right. And then over the weekend, we've been leveraging information power with all of our key leaders saying essentially the same thing, that this is a red line that we should not cross.
So, when you add all that up, Bruce, let me ask you this. It appears that there's sort of incremental progress, that China is acting in a way that it hasn't before, that they are going forward with these bans against North Korea. They also suggested that if North Korea strikes first and we retaliate, that they might not move to block that. And they initially said they would. So it looks like some of these very sort of bellicose, strong language on the military front, and then the carrot and stick approach with the diplomacy seems to be nudging this process in the direction that the president has said he wants it to go. Yes or no?
Well, each of the UN Security Council resolutions is incrementally better than the previous one, and therefore each one is the best in history until the next one. So China's announcement today is basically saying we will do what we are required to do under the UN Security Council resolutions. And historically what China has done is, they've usually implemented the resolution sanctions for about 1 to 4 months, and then they tend to back away. Now, on the trade thing, whether that's related to North Korea or not, if it's intended to pressure China and North Korea, it's a very indirect, very slow method. There's something that the U.S. continues to pull its punches on, which is enforcing U.S. law against Chinese violators that are misusing the U.S. financial system. Right. So if we were to do secondary sanctions, that's much quicker, much more direct, and it can wean away the Chinese banks and businesses from engaging with North Korea.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you feel that there are financial sanctions that could be much more powerful, and that is sort of a string that could yet be pulled by the Trump administration if they decide they want to take that next step. Lieutenant Colonel Brad Taylor, your thoughts on the trade war here and whether or not North Korea is starting to, feel some heat from this, and the language from General Mattis. How do they respond to that, do you think?
Honestly, I think that General Mattis' comments are getting a little bit overblown. If you fire a missile at U.S. territory, by definition, you're going to war.
Right.
I would expect him to
that's
say
essentially
what
he was saying.
Right. And the truth of the matter is, North Korea would be absolutely insane to attack Guam. It would be like getting in a shouting match with a belligerent drunk and punching his girlfriend instead of him. We have enormous combat power. A lot of it on Okinawa, Japan. We've got a 353rd Special Operations Group. There's a Special Forces Battalion. There's Strike Eagles there. If you really wanted to do a first strike, you would take out Okinawa, not Guam. By the time the missiles reach Guam, we could have the birds in the air. So what he's really trying to do is just turn this into a U.S. versus North Korea. If he says anything against Okinawa, he's brought in Japan. So really what I see is just a war of words. And I think our response should be just what Mattis said. You heard what I said. You launch anything at us, it's game on. You don't need to say anything else.
General, what do you think the next move from North Korea is?
Well, Martha, I think this new administration philosophy, doctrine of strategic accountability is going to hold North Korea accountable. Strategic patience under the Obama administration was really a do-nothing, reactive policy. And so the next move for North Korea is to try to do something within the box that we have now painted them in. And if they get outside that box, they can expect immediate ramifications, as Brad just said. So North Korea has been painted into a corner here, and a lot of people were concerned that the president was painting himself into a corner where very deliberately this administration has leveraged the elements of national power to get both bilaterally with Russia, China, and other nations, Japan, South Korea, and with collective security arrangements such as the UN, to put pressure on North Korea. Now, the ball really is in North Korea's court. They can back down and take the Golden Bridge out that we have offered them, and that's what I think all of us hope will happen.
Wow. We're going to be watching. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great to see all of you tonight. Thanks for being on the story.